Welcome everyone. There is an official response from the developers about Zhongli. So this was just posted on the official forum and this was edited about 6 minutes ago. What we're going to see is, let's go through the entire article of the post. Then I also made some summary notes over here about what they said and what they didn't say. There's a little Paimon image over here as well. Now, before we go through all of those notes in details, it's important let's come to what's most important, I guess. So basically, they can confirm that it is a bug with Zhongli and with the Constellation 2. That's what we posted on the previous video. There is a bug, and we'll be getting an update on the 10th of December to fix this, and we'll be compensated. So it's very likely we'll be getting 100 Primal Gems because of this. And this is the positive and the best thing for this note. So basically, they're confirming it's a bug, they'll be updating, and they'll be fixing this part as quickly as they can. I also explained why in my previous video, because if they don't fix this, guys, people are not going to spend to get high constellations, and they're not making money. So they're going to fix this as quickly as they can. And, you know, I knew this was coming, right? So this is the developers' feedback pretty much. So, dear traveler, we have received a bit of the feedback from all the players. And the developers are saying they're placing a great importance on Zhongli's performance since the testing, and also they're monitoring Zhongli and looking at the feedbacks we've been sending. Now over here we can see that they acknowledge that they have been a little slow with the respond, and also basically they're saying they have been following the situation instead of just been hiding away from it. So on the next part, what's going to happen is the developer is going to share some of their plans out of their thinking about Zhongli. So when they design Zhongli, they try to make the character or the game mechanics as diverse as possible. So that's from their standpoint. And the same design is true for Zhongli. Zhongli is a support character. Notice that we were saying, you know, he's either DPS or support. You got to pick one. So if you've seen my previous video about why Zhongli needs a buff, I said the developers has to pick a role for the character, and they have said they're defining him as a support. So let's see what they say. So the core role of the support is to protect their characters on the party. So not only does he protect himself, he protects other characters. So based on this, his two core roles are the shield creation and also controlling enemies. If you guys are not sure what's happening, shield creation is by holding down his E-spell, and also controlling enemy is using his ultimate to petrify enemies to stone them. And over here you can see that they're saying the Jade Shield, by holding down the E-spell, can provide an effective shield for these, basically the Geo Shield, and also the Planet Beefo, which is his burst ultimate, can stone a group of enemies without, you know, needing him for a special bonus. So from their design point, those two features are allowing him to fulfill his role as a support. Keep in mind, they're not talking about damage dealing at the moment. So basically they're saying reviewed game data and they discovered that in fact Zhongli is increasing the traveler's survival capacities. So from their standpoint, the support character is supposed to give us a shield, supposed to stone enemies, and is increasing the survivability. Now the developers continue with that Zhongli is improving his abilities by scaling his abilities with HP related benefits. Unlike other characters who focus on doing damage, the main way that improves Zhongli's abilities from their standpoint is to improve his HP, allow him to survive. You know, he will have high HP, his E-shield will have higher protection, and also his higher damage with his ultimate. So in contrast with high damage dealers, Zhongli's role is to provide secure and stable protection for all manners in the combat environment. Now we can see that from those two paragraphs, the developers are designing Zhongli as a support character, and they also, you know, saying the Jet Shield and also the ultimate is his particular role to protect the team, and they want us to stack HP from their design point of view. And basically, they haven't addressed the fact he can't deal damage by saying that he's a support character. You know, support characters are not supposed to do damage. So notice that they didn't address his normal attack, they didn't address his energy gain with his E-spell, and also they didn't really address any of the damage potential because they have defined him as a support character. This is very strange because this is the first time I heard, you know, developers saying they're defining a character. Well, you know, Donna, you know, Diana, you know, Barbara, they also support characters. But for Zhongli, his Chinese name is actually the God of War, right? And the God of Martial Arts. And the, you know, a god that is doing damage from the name is not doing enough damage. So that's what the community was not happy about. But over here, notice they haven't addressed this. Now on the next paragraph, the developer goes into things that's more general, saying when adjusting for challenging stages, aspects of the open world, the systems, they want to have a detailed analysis of the combat stats the users use. So notice how they can see how many times we died, how much shield is provided, they can see a lot of stats. So they're engaging on deep analysis with Zhongli, and they're still monitoring and they're still looking for stats from him. And if those stats do not perform as intentionally as a support, then it might buff him as a support. And finally, as we saw at the start, basically there's a bug with his second constellation. They're going to fix that ASAP because that's not getting them money, because no one's wishing for Zhongli knowing that they're making him weaker with constellation 2. And of course they're going to fix that as quickly as they can. They said they'll continue to monitor the in-game experience, social media feedbacks, and we're going to send some feedback support when the next survey comes in. And they're really happy that we're still supporting the game, and there's a little Paimon over here. So basically, to give you guys a better summary, I'm pretty much taking all of those notes into a more concise form. So we can quickly go through this, and I'll try to explain why one of the reasons the developers might not be actually changing Zhongli. This is actually in a bigger picture too. So in case you guys are wondering, basically here the summary, the developer's response says Zhongli is planned as a support character, and his role is to protect the team and keep everyone alive for longer. Stacking his HP helps with his shield and also increase the damage with his ultimate. With Zhongli on the team, the Traveler dies much statistically, so basically the player and the whole team dies less likely. Well, it's true because Zhongli will run with Geo characters, they do create a lot of shield, and we tend to take longer to fight all the dungeons and domains, but we do die less a little bit, unless we purposely fall off the cliff. So they have confirmed there's a bug, and they'll be fixing his constellation. They'll be fixing his constellation too, and there will be a compensation for us, which is probably at least 100 Paimon gems. We'll be expecting this bug fix and a small update on the 10th of December, and that should be very soon. The developers team will continue to monitor his performance. So that is summarized. Let's see what was said and what was not addressed, and also finally why are they refusing to buff Zhongli at the moment. So the best thing out of this official response is that, they're addressing the bug, we're getting 100 Paimon gems. They're also confirming that they're designing Zhongli for a support character. So now if we're building him as a damage dealer, this might not be great. I mean, from the player's perspective, we want to build any character for anything. Bennett can be a support, he can be a DPS. So is a lot of characters that has two, potentials. Lisa can be a DPS, she can be a support. The developers are pushing that they are stacking HP for the build, which will help him to scale his E-spell and also the burst ultimate. But over here, if we look at the things that was raised by the community, both Chinese, English, and a lot of community and players everywhere. So the first thing is just pressing the E-spell, not holding down the E-spell, creates a geostructure. And this does not generate any elemental particles initially. This will take time for the geostructure to create damage and then give us, elemental particles, which is very inconsistent. And players who actually went for the physical build with the Crimson Spike, if you didn't know guys, this item needs to pick up elemental particles to do more damage. And Xiaoling can do this very easily with her Goba attack, but this is not happening because you don't get the elemental particles and you can't build him for physical damage. Now notice the developer said here they're building him as a support. So if they're building him as a support, they don't need him to do damage. That this removes the viability for flexibility of a character. People want to try different build, and there's a lot of speculations that he can build for physical damage with his beautiful attack animations, multiple strikes, quick attacks, lance characters. But that part is a little silly, so they avoided this part to address any changes because they're saying he's a support, he doesn't need to use this item, which I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think about this part. Now the second part that was not addressed in the game is that basically they're saying Zhongli helps with survivability, but there are few rewards in the game that gives us benefits for surviving. The timed domains, the spiral boost, they want us to kill things as quickly as we can, and most cases if we don't kill them fast enough we'll actually fail. I'm not sure if they're hitting there will be survival future events, so that might work with Zhongli, because currently the in-game mechanics does not support him just surviving. You have to kill things fast. It's like a damage check. So unless there are future events that give us survival objectives, Zhongli is not going to excel as a support for now, I feel. And finally, because if we look at other alternative of characters that also give us a shield, Diana, Xingyan, the new characters, those characters seems to be better fitting for a support role if you're just building them for their support potential. Diana can heal with her ultimate, she's also a cryo character that can give us 15% critical chances. Xingyan is a pyro character that increases the physical damage by 15% when she have a shield for the ally. she also gave us the party resonance for 25% attack. While Zhongli over here, because he's bugged constellations, he doesn't even give the 15% increased attack damage when protected by a shield. So he is definitely slightly weaker as a support for now. And finally, not trying to defend the developers, but from a higher design point of view, if they actually give in to the community to buff or rework Zhongli right away because there's a lot of complaints, from their perspective and from the long-term gaming perspective, this might start as an example. So all the 5-star can be complained, and also we can take them to be buffed, and also we can ask for rework. So they might not want to give in to us just asking for buffs and changes. But it's also very important for them to test things out in beta and everything to make sure he actually fulfilled the role as a 5-star character, which should be slightly stronger than the 4-star characters. So I can see where they're coming from. They don't want to start an example to, buff everything that's released, but I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, guys. So this one's pretty controversial. The good thing is they're addressing the problem, they're responding to the players, they shared their point of perspective, but they also think that we're a little concerned, and hopefully they can address this with the next patch, which is to come on the 10th of December. But let's wait, let's see how they monitor, let's see what stats they get out of him. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and also turn the little bell on for the latest news. I'll be looking towards to make more builds, guides, tips, and news and event updates for us as we come further into the game. And as always, I wish you guys the best of luck with Genshin and have the most fun in exploring this wonderful world.